Hey, this is Kristi James, and I am fixing to go into a curriculum meeting where this is with social studies, and they're going to be discussing the benchmarks for tax testing and curriculum for next year. Also, they are going to be talking about what is the best way to engage students in the learning process. So, here in a little bit, I'm going to be going into the meeting. Some of the reflections, or some of the, there's a lead teacher, actually two lead teachers are going to be in the meeting. And this will be my first meeting, and I will see how it goes. I'm kind of nervous. What I'm thinking about is this will be, since it's my first meeting, I am going to be learning quite a bit. This will all be new information to me, to be able to learn, first of all, about staff meetings, especially since I've been in special education, or still in special education. This is all new to me, of how their curriculum lines up with their STAR testing, or has lined up with the tax testing. So, as far as delegating authority, I think the lead teacher will probably be facilitating most of the meeting. I am going to be taking a lot of notes. Actually, what I'm going to be looking for is information geared towards actively engaging students in learning. Our district is eventually going to be moving over from paper textbooks to e-textbooks. So that's what I'm going to be looking for, is how do you decide, which company to go with, and who looks at all of the areas of which company to go with. What do they offer? Are there textbooks hybrid, where the student can learn half online, half in the classroom, or is it fully online? The main concern with a lot of teachers with the e-textbooks is, how is technology with our school district line up with how in other words, can our district's technology handle that many students online? Is there going to be issues with broadband? Different things like that. How are we going to have enough laptops? Are there computers that are stored somewhere that can be, basically recycled to be able to go in and set those up for students? I do know that technology plays a huge part in the decisions that are made with e-textbooks. So I'm very curious to see what these teachers are looking for, and what is going to work best for them. Is it the whiteboard, laptops, iPads, anything like that. So I'm fixing to step into the meeting, and I'll be right back.
Well, one of the things we need to talk about is this semester exam that's coming up in about a week and a half. Thursday and Friday we get early release on those two days, and so probably that way we've been doing it, that Wednesday, fourth period will be one exam day, and then they'll probably go even or odd on that Thursday, and then go with the other one on that Friday. Robert, where are you at? I'm testing on chapter 6 right now. All right, probably tomorrow, which is Islam. Where are you at?
You're testing on that? We've already covered more than 2 days.
Well, it's more like a quiz, but I'm going to count it as
5 today.
All right. So you're going, but 6 1. Do you think? I think on our. I was looking at our semester exam from last week. From last year, or maybe 2 years ago. Anyway, think we tried to get all the way to chapter 9. I think we skipped maybe 7 and 8 and went 6 to 9.
Yeah.
And so what I was gonna try to do is try maybe on this next week and a half, go ahead and try to knock out chapter 9 and not have a test over chapter 9. But since that's gonna be part of the semester exam, I can get my test in that way. So, do you think that'll work for you?
Yeah.
Because since you said, because chapter 6, like you said, Islam doesn't take a lot.
I've already got a project ready in, so
You already got it?
I have
All right.
my grades covered.
You got, okay. That's good. Butch, what about you?
I'm on 9 right
You
now.
are 9, Ryan. All
You
right.
may take Americas off the semester test, because we put Americas on there.
On the semester exam?
When we had to do that deal in a day.
Was that last year?
No, we did it this year.
You did what?
Remember we had that in-service day, and then we had to make up a semester test?
Oh, you're right.
And I made up that semester
Yeah,
test, and then
yeah,
we said we were
yeah.
all the way to the Americas, and then
That's
start
right. I remember you, yeah.
the Renaissance after it.
What chapter's Americas?
It's like 10 or
Is that
11.
10? Yeah.
No, it's like 12, 11 or 12.
I tell you what, Butch.
11.
Is it 11?
Yeah.
If, is it a big deal to take it off?
No.
Because what I was gonna do, I had forgotten that, and you're right. Because what I was just gonna do is just, regardless of if we had extra questions, I was just gonna tell the kids, or I omit questions, 35 to 40 or
Sure.
whatever. But if you wanna, if it's all right, if you can take those things off, you can take off the Americas and then just leave on chapter 9,
Yeah, we can do that.
that'll be fine.
Okay.
All right, 9's over the Byzantine Empire, right? Got my chapters right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Middle Ages.
all right,
Middle Ages, Byzantine.
okay. So we'll, if you'll let John know, I know he's probably got, a meeting today with the coaches and Andy Sly, they've got, I think, basketball tournament in Weatherford.
Yeah, he'll be gone
Yeah,
today and tomorrow.
yeah. Okay. so-
John's on chapter 9.
John's on 9? All right, so we're within, about a week of each other, which is fine. Okay, so semester exam, we'll go all the way from, early man, chapter 1, to about chapter 9. And if Butch, if you don't mind, they just omit some of that.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry for it, I forgot all.
It's not hard, all you do is click a little box and it's gone.
Technology, that's right, and it makes it good. Okay. All right, so that takes care of our semester exam. Also, we're okay on grades, right? Because we're going to have at least 3 major, if I'm.
Already got it.
All right, you're good. Well, I'm good, and Robert, let me see.
So I'll have one over chapter 5.
Yeah,
That'll make my second major.
yeah, okay, all right. Textbooks, I don't know if you got the email from Miss Diane. Robert, did you get that about the publisher?
It was about middle school, wasn't it?
Houghton,
I got one about middle school.
yes, all right. The Houghton, Miffler, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Anyway, one of the 2 that we were thinking about going with,
That's
one
one that we
was
liked.
the one that we sort of liked because it tied in, it had Maps 101 connected to it, and it also had the History Channel connected to it. Well, based on the email that Miss Diane over at Admin sent,
That's gone.
yeah, they didn't have enough teaks for the 8th grade.
Mhm.
So Houghton was just going to drop their 8th grade edition. Well, that kind of sent a red flag, I suppose, and so I think the way I understood the email, Robert, if you correct me, was that we were not going to consider Houghton on any, as far as social studies, on 10th grade, 11th, 12th, didn't matter, all right? So that pretty much leaves us with the McGraw Hill, which is Glencoe, but it's Glencoe, McGraw Hill, that's what we've got right now that we're sort of using. Which was a good one too, Robert, that one, it had just as many resources. It wasn't connected with the History Channel, and I'm not too sure about the maps, but you can get on Maps 101 and download whatever you need for that. So it kind of makes our decision a little bit, I guess, easy. I'm probably going to email Coach Hammonds over at Heritage, since he's kind of in charge of, at least in charge of sophomores with their textbooks, because I think he was all right. I think he was okay with what we want to go with our two, but since our two has now gone to basically one, then that kind of takes care of that. So I'll touch base with Coach Hammonds. Semester exam, we got textbook, end of semester stuff. Y'all have any questions as far as finishing up these next 2.5 weeks? We're all right.
I do have.
Ms. James, yes, ma'am.
I do have a quick question on
Go
your
right ahead.
textbooks.
Yes, ma'am.
What did you guys consider when y'all were considering your textbooks? Towards technology?
Right.
And are you still leaning towards paper or
Right.
leaning going towards ebooks?
E-books. When Robert and I, we were the representatives from the sophomore world history deal. We were the textbook presenters. One of the things that they were real good about was online access, that students could access the textbooks via telephone, cell phone, laptop, iPad, computer at the house. And we had a little bit of that 13, 14 years ago with this world history book we've got right now. But it was kind of sketchy. I mean, some kids could get on and look at it, and it just wasn't really user-friendly on this textbook that we've got. From what these textbook publishers have told us now, I mean, it's extremely easy as far as having the students being able to access that.
Coach,
With their technology.
Butch got a system now that this is very user-friendly now.
It works.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
On this one?
He's
Yeah,
got
you might want to
me-
turn that off though, it might be a little illegal, I don't know.
He's got me downloading
You got
the chapters. I put the chapters on Blackboard now.
Dude?
You
Yeah.
do?
For kids who can't access it on their device in the room,
Yeah.
or don't have their book, they got their device,
Okay.
open up Blackboard, click on it, open it up.
Well, maybe our next meeting we'll discuss
Discuss
that.
that.
Yeah.
Do you guys see any issues with our technology department over administration with, say, for an instance, an issue with broadband, being able for students to get, say if you had, all of your students have a laptop and you're all getting on, what issues have you seen with that, or have you not?
Well, it was kind of ironic. One of the last things when we met at this textbook meeting, whenever we met with the admin, when it was all over at the end of the day, we met for about 15 or 20 minutes, and the technology people pretty much asked us, what did y'all think about that issue of you want everybody to have a textbook, or do you just want to have online access and
Right.
not have? And most of the social studies department said the kids want a hands-on textbook, because they've asked the students.
Okay,
And even Ms. Ray made the comment that her AP kids, they really want a hard copy of the book. And I was kind of thinking it might be the opposite, because
Right.
students are so techno savvy and everything, and they're always on the internet.
right,
And even Mr. Reed in some of his regular classes had said that most of his kids, that he put it to a vote. And 75 to 80% of his kids.
Well, basically, that's
wanted-
because when they use their devices, they run the battery down.
okay,
Well, that's true,
It's hard to keep it charged
Yeah.
throughout the school all day.
Yeah.
okay,
And Ms. James, the ironic thing about it, that was on Wednesday that we went to that textbook meeting. that Thursday, the very next day, is when our internet shut down for like 2 or 3 hours.
Wow.
And so it just kind of, not that was a sign, but it just kind of confirmed,
right.
I mean, technology's good, but it's got to be, if you're going to go whole hog 100%, then we got to have it.
100%.
100%, and because you'll have lessons that are totally designed on technology, and if for some reason a glitch takes place, that's not even it's not even Midlothian's fault or anything like that. It affects just the whole system. So anyway, all that to say, pretty much most of the teachers and the majority of the students would rather have a hard copy, as well as being able to get on it, at home with their internet stuff. But they would also like a hard copy of the book.
Do you see any issues with students that don't have computers at home?
I don't know, Robert, Butch, have y'all ever, I've never polled my students to see, okay, how many of y'all have internet access at the house?
They're not gonna tell you the truth.
I don't.
There's some of those kids that are not gonna do anything, they're not gonna tell you the truth.
They don't tell you the truth. I've been doing Google Classroom this past week, and they have to have their own device, and I've got 4 kids out of 130 that don't have a smartphone.
They don't have it, yeah.
A smartphone or an iPad.
That's about,
or something.
yeah.
4 kids.
So what do you do with those 4 if you're not
So
using
they do theirs at home, or they can do a hard copy. And most of them choose to do it at home because with Google Classroom, it throws everything in a folder for them. So they have all their notes in one folder. And then I brought my tablet today, so
Yeah.
the one girl that doesn't have a smartphone,
Right.
I give it to her.
Right.
The other 2 look on with somebody else, and they
Okay.
write down the answers, and then they go home and put them in.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then that's how we got around it. Yesterday, we used 4 laptops. We got 4 laptops from Steve.
You can get them from the library.
Right.
Hammond's brought them
Okay.
so.
What I've done is that if we're doing something in class, and like Butch is saying, most of the kids have their phone and we're gonna access it, and I've got a few that don't have a smartphone. They may have, way back in the day, those old type cell phones, they don't have anything. I'll just group them up with somebody who does, because a lot of times it is a group activity that we're doing.
Okay.
So that's one way that we can kind of get around that.
So where everybody has access to the internet
Yeah.
during the class.
Yeah.
And what do you look for when you go to your conferences for those textbooks? What are you looking for as far as
Right.
what you see is important? What is important when you go to a textbook
Right.
conference? What are you guys looking for?
One of the things, and Robert, you can speak on this too. One of the things I was looking at was it going to be techno-friendly? Just because the book that we had, 13, 14 years ago, you could get, the only thing the kid really could get was just a hard copy of the textbook. I think the way that some of these textbook companies are acting now, that they're able to access more stuff inside the textbook and not just there's a hard copy. I think they're able to do more activities possibly through it. Another thing was with assessment activities, as far as quizzes and tests. We looked at some textbook companies as the day went on, where they gave you a book, but that was pretty much it. There weren't any kind of resources. Thank you. Yeah, to kind of go along with it. But since one of these textbook companies has already pretty much been cut off the list, McGraw is real good about resources. And so was Houghton, but since they kind of
We had a
went
teacher,
down there.
we can get by with that resource because we know how.
Right.
It makes our lives easier.
Right.
The resources are there.
Right.
And most book publishers will have resources, the supplements that go along with the book. A couple didn't, but most of them will.
Okay.
And I imagine those that did not, given time, they will, given time.
Okay.
And another thing that, I don't know, that I was looking at was, did they have a copy of Spanish? Was it Spanish accessible? You know, do they have resources for Spanish-speaking students?
And this one does.
So, yeah, there were a couple, in fact, the two that we were kind of going with had it.
And what are those type of resources? Are there websites, or, I mean, how, if you had to use that
Right.
Spanish version,
Right.
what is available in that textbook?
I don't know if.
It's different lessons, there's different activities that students can do, that go along with what you're given in class. They give it in a different language.
Okay.
It could be lessons on vocabulary, it could be lessons on critical thinking, it could be lessons on enrichment activities. There's different lessons,
Okay,
that you can use. It could be notes for the teacher. And I imagine you can find those in Spanish to pass out or duplicate and then give to Spanish-speaking students. if
Okay.
needed.
But quizzes and tests, I mean, that was one of the things, you know, it just makes it easier,
Yeah, that's huge.
you know, because that's kind of the main way we assess, you know, whether a student, you know, based on grades and stuff. And so if they had quizzes and tests in Spanish, that was going to be a big plus. And both of these companies did.
and you said that was McGraw-Hill,
Yes, ma'am.
and they have, the quizzes and tests in
They've got it.
Spanish.
Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I do have a quick question about your curriculum. When do you pick your curriculum? Is it based off, I mean, obviously it's based off your TEKS,
Right,
correct?
right.
But, so does like McGraw-Hill, when you go to those conferences to look at curriculum and textbooks, do they?
Right.
State of Texas already have guidelines for them. So when
They do,
when they make those
okay.
books and things out, they already follow the State of Texas guidelines.
They do,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I was wondering, is if that was already set up, or, you know, do the publishers go, would they gear that book, say if the publisher obviously geared that book for Texas TEKS, so they would do,
Right.
they would gear that towards,
Yes.
you know, New York TEKS, or.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
And whenever you go on, even on this McGraw-Hill, the old book, when you go on their website, it'll ask you what state are you wanting it from, because like you said, in Texas, we're based on the TEKS, but if you go to Oklahoma or New York or wherever, I don't know what they base their system on. So
Okay.
it's pretty much narrowed down to what, like, as Robert said, you know, Texas has pretty much already told the textbook companies, you know, this is what you better have,
okay,
you know, for you to be able, and another thing at this textbook meeting that we went to, some of the presenters, one of their main points was, you know, this has been approved by the state of Texas and by TEA. Now, some textbook companies weren't able to say that. In fact, one towards the end saying, "Now we haven't been approved by Texas, but we've got some school districts that are using our product."
okay,
You know, so you had a little bit of both,
okay,
but some of them were pretty upfront about, you know, we've got the backing of Texas behind our book.
right.
So
So would it matter to you guys if it was backed by TEA or not?
to me, it makes, not that it's job security, but it makes, to me, it helps me out to know that we're teaching what the state of Texas says we need to be teaching.
Okay, right,
And so for
Right.
me, I'm good with that. You know, if you just kind of teach what you want, sometimes that's not always the best to do. If you have some guidelines, which, you know, Texas has, you know,
Sure.
they've outlined pretty well what we can't.
so you know that once the students leave, that they've got what they need,
They've got what they need based on
Okay.
what the state of Texas has determined. Yes, ma'am.
right? Would you guys ever consider using a textbook that's hybrid? Do they even offer that, where you're half in the book and then half online, or are they already set up that way?
I don't know I don't know if there's any, I haven't heard that, I think it's all the same.
Okay.
I don't think there is a hybrid to where you can go kind of half and half. If there is, I haven't heard that, but
Okay.
I don't know.
Just curious, you know?
Yeah.
That'd be a hard sell, in any school district.
Okay. And why?
Why?
Because it'd make it harder to teach it, or?
Some of the old people like Jay and myself, we're not that.
Butch,
I'm hybrid right now,
Butch,
but
I left him out.
we're doing a lesson today
Butch
that's
is
all
I
online.
left him out. I said,
It's
Jay,
all online.
we're not that.
I got the websites where they go, the questions they're gonna answer, and they're all gonna get on their phones and do it online.
We're not that
I'm
tech
hybrid
savvy, so
today.
it would be a problem for us.
So, I mean, it's all the text, it's everything that's in the book, it follows right with chapter 9, section 3, and section 4 combined, and they've already read it in the book.
Okay.
And now they're gonna do this activity where they're gonna have to find a chart, and they're gonna watch a little video about Joan of Arc, and then,
Okay.
and then they're gonna answer 5 questions about Joan of Arc after watching a little video, and then they got a little map on there, and they're gonna look at the map online, and then answer 5 questions about the map, and
Wow, okay.
so it's all stuff that
That's pretty neat.
they like, I mean, they like doing it. I mean, even my knuckleheads, I mean, they sit there and they're just, you know, we did PowerPoint on Google Classroom, they have to type in the answers on the blank. I mean, they ain't got time to talk. I mean, they're just,
Right.
you know.
So they're really actively engaged when
Yeah.
they're using the technology.
Now, we've only done it for a week now. We're gonna do
Okay.
it all the way to Christmas before we decide if we really like it or not. Because right now it's new. Everybody likes it.
Hey, John.
Sorry,
No, you're fine.
I forgot I was lifting with those guys.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
But that's kinda how we're doing it today.
Okay.
And then tomorrow we're gonna try to take a quiz on it, on Google Classroom, and see how that works. I may not take a grade on it, we're gonna experiment.
He's trying to eliminate the use of paper altogether.
Wow.
The printer, well, Monday, Tuesday, the printer was broke, couldn't get the printer to work. So I thought, crap, I gotta do something.
Uh-huh.
And I was looking at Google Classroom, you know, whenever we had the registration deal that day. We were sitting there, I had my laptop, and I was looking around at Google Classroom, I said, that's pretty cool. Looked at it,
Right.
and you make the worksheet up, and they type on their device to answer whatever you got. And we're gonna try a quiz, you know, and you grade it right there. Right there on the deal. So like I pulled my laptop out the other night, about 8 o'clock, I had about 10 kids not done. Clicked on it, boom, graded their paper, click done, click return, and sends it back to them with a grade.
And the students already set up a Google account?
They use their school Google account, their
Okay.
ID, it's already set up. They have to put it in, and then there's a code for each class. So like I got 5 classes, and each class has a different code. So it puts all their assignments in a folder for me, and it puts all their assignments in a folder for them, individually.
Wow.
So if I wanna look at John's folder, I just click on John, and then I can look and see all the work he's done,
Or did he have?
or hadn't done.
Hadn't done.
Cause it says right there, done or not done, if it has a grade on it, and then you click on return, and then it sends it back to the student. And then it gives you a spreadsheet. The only bad part about it, and like my wife said, you know, when you graded them on paper, you had to write the grade on the paper. So, but it puts it on a spreadsheet, so you have to go back and put it in first class in grade book, but that's the only thing I was griping about. So I gotta put it in grade book, I gotta type it in twice.
Right.
She was, well,
Right.
you used to have to write it down once and then type it in. So
That
what's
is
the
the
difference?
same thing.
You
yeah.
know,
Right, okay.
so I'm gonna stay with it till Christmas, and I've worked through it. I mean, Monday we had first period, we spent the whole first period just trying to figure out how to get an iPhone to work. So we worked through that. So then second, third, fourth, and fifth period all got the lesson. So first period's a lesson behind, but they were the guinea pigs. But you can't use Safari. That's the thing about it. You gotta use Google Chrome, because it's a Google product. Safari doesn't work. I mean, a couple of them will say it does, and then the rest of them it won't work. So Google Chrome's the way to go. But it's a way of the future. I'm telling
You
you,
may have to leave a little workshop for us here.
I'll tell you something.
That would be amazing.
I sit down in 15 minutes. In 15 minutes, I pull my laptop out, I sit down, I'm watching a football game, and I click on it, look on there. Yeah, she got all that answered because it was just it was just practice. The PowerPoint fill in the blank. If you filled in the blank, you had to watch it because I went over the answer with you. You know, like we do our notes.
Yeah.
And I gave them 100 for doing it, and every one of them that turned it in did it. And I got like 5, 6, 7 that didn't do it, so they got zeros.
Do they do this in class or they do it at home? I mean, as far
They did
as.
in class.
Did in
Did in
class.
class.
Okay.
Today I got 4 different lessons set up, and I don't know if we're gonna be able to get through all 4 of them today or
Right.
not.
Right.
So what I was gonna do is I'm gonna divide them up into 4 groups and have one group do one lesson, one group do another lesson, one do another lesson, do it that way. So at least we get them all 4 done. And then if we run out of time, then we crisscross and go over with them. Each group will go over and get the answers with the other one.
Yeah.
That's what I plan on doing today. But, and if I have time, I don't know how long it's gonna take them, because it's the first time I've done it. And if not, I'll just, if it doesn't take long, then we'll just switch. Now you're doing Joan of Arc, now you're doing 100 Years' War, now you're doing the map.
Yeah.
And do it that way. I'm hybrid. I've gone hybrid, I guess. I didn't know
Right.
what. But I like it.
It sounds like the students really like it too.
They have. I mean, they have. I asked them, I said, do y'all like taking notes? Because we did Cornell notes, we did regular notes, we did PowerPoint notes, and we did PowerPoint to Cornell notes, and now we're doing this, and now I'm trying to figure out how to make the PowerPoint into Cornell notes on the Google Classroom. And I think I've about got it figured out.
What's some of the feedback you've had from the students about doing all that
Oh,
on the
yeah.
computer?
They like doing it on the computer. I mean, rather than doing paper and pencil. And like you were saying, the problem is, run the batteries down. So you go sit next to a plug if you need to plug it in. You sit on the floor and do it. I mean, I don't, plug it in.
Okay.
I'm gonna bring a power strip, next week to plug in so they can, if we got 3 kids that need to plug in, they can. I brought my tablet, which I hadn't used in 6 months, so somebody can use it today that doesn't have a phone. But I mean, I like it. If I can get to the point to where we just use the book as a guide, I think we'll be good. Because I mean, a lot of the stuff, like the vocab we get out of the book, we read the book, they read the part, do the section reviews and stuff, and then we add this part to it. And it's been pretty good. I finished PowerPoints in about 15 minutes, so it kind of wears me out, because used to I had to write it all out. And I'm like, holy crap, I got 25 more minutes of class left, what am I gonna do, I had to work on that, get some extra assignments, because I mean, I get it done so much faster.
Right.
I didn't have to tell anybody, pay attention, because I had to pay attention, because I'm going to the next one.
Yeah.
And then we would go back at the end, if you miss it, just go back at the end and go over them. And it just, in 15 minutes we were done.
Yeah.
And what used to take 30 minutes, we did in half the time.
Right.
So we did another activity on the fly, in the second period.
Yeah.
But it's fun.
Is it quicker for you to do your lesson plans with the computer, or is it maybe about the
It's about the
same?
same,
It is?
about the
Okay.
same, because I don't use a lot of those worksheets in the book. I usually make my own, or do the notes, make my own. So all I have to do is just take it, transfer it to Google Drive, so it'll work on the Google Classroom. And now I've started using Google, just instead of typing it on Word and then putting it on Google Drive, I just start typing on Google Drive, and then it's already there.
Okay.
You just save it to it and go. They got another deal I hadn't figured out, how to grade a quiz. Kids take the quiz, and then you make a key for it, and it grades the quiz as they're taking the quiz. I ain't got that set up yet. I'll have that figured out.
Wow.
I'm working on that.
Is that kind of like the clickers
It's like you take the test online,
on that online?
and then it grades it, and then it comes back and gives you the grade. You don't even have to grade it. And then you set it up to where they're gonna all make 100. So if you miss a question, you gotta go back and answer it again until you get it right. Or you can just have it,
Right,
take the test, and then if you don't pass the test, you gotta take the test again.
yeah.
But it's flubberoo or something like that. I gotta study up on it some more.
We're gonna have a Butch Phillips in-service day.
No, we're not.
Yeah, we are. But
It's the Bible bed.
you gonna bring.
It's just a Bible bed. Just
You gonna-
seek and you shall find. That's all I do.
You
Just
gonna bring your four-wheeler up here?
shoot,
and we're
yeah,
gonna-
I'm gonna get me some Harley handlebars and put on it and be ready to go to town if I come back for Christmas. Might even have a bell on it if I'm lucky. Santa brings me what I want.
Yeah. All right, well, Ms. James, do you have any more
No, I
questions,
just,
anything?
great information on the textbooks.
Well, guys, I appreciate your time. Y'all have a good day.
All right.
We'll see y'all.
Blue, blue, see you.
See you there, Butch.
Okay, so the reflection today was on basically the textbooks, where the teachers are at on, publishers,
Yes, ma'am.
their semester exams,
Right.
using technology. Looks like McGraw-Hill is going to be the publisher that they're most likely go with.
Right.
In the meeting, they also discussed the semester exams would be through chapters 1 through 9, and the main leader of the meeting was Mr. Johnson. He also consults with another social studies teacher over at one of the other schools who's on the textbook committee for social studies. I did get a lot of information on how they look at textbooks, if they're technology friendly, if they have assessments and tests in them, resources. As you heard, one of the teachers said that having a Spanish version of the textbook was extremely important for activities, lessons, and notes, and vocabulary and duplicates for the teacher to run off if they need to. Currently, one of the teachers that was in the meeting uses the Google Chrome. Most of his tests are graded online. Eventually, he wants to get to where the book is just used as a guide, but mainly uses his lesson plans separate, but then the students also get online and use their iPhones. Some of the issues with the iPhones were that a couple of the students didn't have the iPhones, but he was able to help them, and they got additional laptops. I believe it was 4 laptops. So that basically covers our meeting.